don't want to say cult, but I said it. Why though? Like, why? That person is probably really kinky or whatever.
Ha, I told you so. Like, I don't need you to tell me what my path in life is. You know, this is my path, and so I'm gonna do it.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z could happen. And like all of a sudden, you have the cure for cancer. You know, out there in space, who knows? When was the last time you let out your inner weirdo? In what way or where do you feel the need to be different or to stand out? And where in your life are you the most likely to experience sudden changes? With Uranus, we are better off expecting the unexpected, if that's even possible. So meet Uranus, the planet of rebellion, revolution, the bringer of sudden changes. He is unpredictable. He's also very exciting. He tells us to not conform to societal expectations or society's standards. And he's all about marching to the beat of his own drum. So that's what Uranus encourages us to do as well. It is also our inner weirdo. It is our need to be different, to stand out. And the sign that's Uranus in is a generational sign, meaning that a lot of people around the same age as you or born within a few years of you are going to share the same Uranus sign. So the house that Uranus falls into your chart is actually going to show how your generation's drive for radical change has impacted you personally. So today we're going to be talking about Uranus through the houses. If you're new here, my name is Melissa, your local Capricorn moon. I make videos especially geared towards beginners or those who are just beginning their astrological journey. So if that sounds like you and you are open to learning about astrology, please hit subscribe and turn on notifications. I post twice a week. I hope to see you around. I have a lot more good content coming your way, so please stick around for that. Please stay tuned for that. So if you are unsure where Uranus falls in your own birth chart, or if you've never even looked up your birth chart before and you're still new to astrology, I will leave a link in the description of my video so you can look up your birth chart. You will need to know your birth time and your birthplace, so please have that information ready when you do go look up your birth chart. And this is the symbol that you want to look for in your chart when you do calculate it. So look out for that and just find the house where that symbol falls into. So come back to this video and you can look at the information I have about Uranus in your own house. Okay, so Uranus. Depending on how you deal with Uranus in your chart, you can either allow your uniqueness to shine and be unashamed of your inner weirdo, or you can suppress and hide it. If you choose to suppress and hide your individuality, you might just feel very weird inside and just feel like you don't belong, feel like your individuality is not being accepted into the world. But although first off that comes from you, and you yourself need to accept and embrace your individuality first before others can. Because if you're not confident in your unique traits, your unique quirks, and if you yourself are too afraid to show them off or to be even proud of them or to let them loose in the world, then it's just going to be forever repressed. But today I'll be discussing how we can embrace, or where Uranus brings out its sort of weirdness into your life, sort of its unpredictable quality into your life, and how you can really embrace that and let that shine through and not have it be something to be ashamed of. Because, you know, although Uranus brings sudden changes into our life and sometimes it can be a little bit off-putting, it can really be exciting. And if you know how to use it, if you know how to work with it, and, you know, not let it really be something to fear, or embrace it in small doses. It's okay to celebrate Uranus and its electric, weird energy. So let's begin with Uranus in the first house. You embody Uranus physically and personally too. As an individual, your mark on the world, or the first impression that people tend to really see or get from you, is that you are eccentric, that you are just very out there, very much ahead of your time, and just also probably really socially conscious, socially aware, and very much future minded, very much like group oriented, and like knowing or feeling what the larger collective is really looking for or is really progressing towards. You yourself are a very progressive person, and when it comes to your personality and how you are presenting yourself to the world, you're always changing. You are never static. You're never somebody who's trying to like stay the same forever throughout their whole life. Uranus in the first house will really bring that sudden randomness, sudden unpredictability into your persona, into your very basic persona, the first impression people really get from you. You are an independent person and you're such a maverick. You will go where nobody else has gone before, and you're not scared of the unknown. You're not scared of being out there, being the first person to try something, to like probably even make a fool of yourself. Like that just does not get to you. You really don't care about being seen as socially acceptable or proper or doing the right thing or going down the path that everybody else has followed. That to you is really boring, and physically speaking, you probably have something very unique about you that really makes you stand out and really makes others not forget about you. And you might also have really random bursts of energy and really get really bright ideas randomly just out of the blue, but somehow they end up being like really good genius ideas. Your personality, your everyday day-to-day personality can be extremely random, sort of off the wall and just very much out there. Like people won't always know exactly what you're talking about or where you're coming from, but that's you, and like you just get these sudden random bursts of energy out of nowhere and you'll say things. You'll just say really random things or do really random things that are not expected of you. And your appearance is always changing somehow. You're just never one to repeat the same look or repeat the same outfit or hairstyle like the same day to day. I actually know a lot of Capricorn risings with Uranus in the first and also Neptune, because the Capricorn risings that I know personally or just like within my age group who also have Uranus in the first house, it really brings like an interesting quality to the sturdiness or like the stability of like the Capricorn rising persona, like outer persona. It just really makes them a lot more random and just like really funny and quirky. So I just thought that was interesting to point out. With Uranus in the second house, you value your individuality, and it's something that you really prize and that you really take ownership of. Your creativity and your ideas are also something that you hold strongly in high regard, something that you value. And the second house is the house of routine and your assets, how you handle your assets and your resources. And it's also about your self-esteem. So those things can really have an unpredictable quality about them. It might be like that they're always changing. Somehow your personal possessions are always like moving or just like getting lost maybe somehow as well, just because there is sort of an erratic quality to how you are taking care of your personal possessions as well as your finances. Your finances can really have an up and down quality about them, and just the way that you handle them is not like the same or like the same every month. Like the way that you budget, it might be difficult for you to budget just because you have random like impulses and spending and buying, and just the way that you handle your money can be really different from one month to the next or 1 week to the next. For you, the idea of safety and predictability and routine, those second house things, that to you is like, routine is like for suckers. You are, like I said, you can be really impulsive with your spending, and just the idea of safety and sameness and the feeling of security is, you want to break free from that. And you might be very independent from that. Like that's what makes you different from other people. Your style of dress or your taste in art can also be sort of off the wall, or sort of like other people might not really understand it, but to you that is beautiful, and that to you is what you really value. You value uniqueness in different kinds of art or in different experiences of artistic expression, whether that be in movies and books, and just like your tastes, like the things that you are drawn to in life, the things that your sensual pleasures are just very different, very unique. You like different kinds of food, different kinds of smells, different kinds of clothing. And you are also a rebel in how you spend your money. So like if you have an accountant, or if you have like somebody in your life who's just always telling you like how to spend your money or how to like budget and budget your finances, like that can really get to you, that can really spark your rebellious nature, because you don't want people to tell you what to do in whatever the area it is that Uranus rules in your chart. Okay, now you with Uranus in the 3rd house, you can either say what's on your mind randomly, impulsively, right off the bat, like without really caring what other people think, with your like revolutionary and crazy and far off sort of conspiracy theory ideas. Or you might suppress that and just feel way too different, or feel like other people won't really accept you or really understand your ideas or the things that you have to say. So you just end up not saying it. You know, with the 3rd house, this is really where you meet other people. It's about conversations, right? And communication and the sharing and the exchange of ideas, basic ideas and knowledge. So this is really where other people can finally experience your individuality and like the unique things that you have to offer in the world, depending on your relationship with Uranus in your own chart and the aspects made to it. You can either be somebody who is proud of that, proud of your Uranus qualities, or just you hold it back and you just don't say it because you don't want to feel weird. You don't want to seem like a weird person to other people. But your way of communicating and your ideas are so different, are just so revolutionary, so it's really what makes you stand out. It's just the way that you communicate and express your ideas and your thoughts. Your communication is very erratic, and it's also almost like, what will you say next? Other people can really get a kick out of it and find it entertaining, or again, they might shun you because of it. But either way, the way that your style of speech can just be very different, just very erratic, and it's just like you just say what's on your mind, really. And like when that lightning bolt energy or electric idea comes into your mind, you just say it. You just have a lot of really amazing ideas, just really amazing creative ideas, and you can be seen or be known as a creative genius because of that, because you know how to think out of the box. You know how to think or speak in a way or have these ideas that are all about progress and are all about the future minded. You can also have really strong opinions and sort of maybe even get weird looks because of it, because of your like really out there ideas. You have really out there ideas and you have a really inventive mind and progressive mind, and you might get like weird looks because of it, or just like when you're sharing your ideas, other people might not always know how to accept it or like understand it very well. You can also have really good skills in technology, in new age subjects such as astrology, as well as like scientific sort of fields. You have the brain for that. You have the understanding to be able to wrap your mind around those subjects. You could also be good at giving speeches to groups of people, like big groups of people, and speaking to different societies, I guess you can say. You know how to understand and really wrap your brain around concepts or ideas that other people might not readily accept or are able to understand, but for you, it's normal. It's like nothing, no idea out there or concept or philosophy is too crazy for you. You're very, very open-minded. With Uranus in the 4th house, you can feel like sort of a black sheep in your family. You might feel like you do not really belong to your family, or somehow like you feel disconnected from your roots, from your past, from your ancestry. It's like it all just feels very foreign to you. You might be the type of person who wants to be independent from your family at an early age. You didn't really like being tied down to any one place. You didn't really like being rooted into somewhere. So home, or the idea of home, could have been always changing. It could have always been moving. You might have like had to move houses a lot when you were growing up. You really resented authority growing up. And so you might have been that rebellious kid in the family. You might have had difficult relationships with your parents when they tried to raise you, or like have you like conform to society's standards, or like put tradition onto you. Like you probably didn't like that. You didn't like being told what to do. You didn't like being raised a certain way or raised to follow a certain pattern or routine. Or perhaps your parents had raised you differently from like maybe your friends or your other, like your cousins maybe. So either there was not enough freedom of expression or acceptance of your individuality growing up, that you had to feel like you had to rebel somehow or be independent in some way, Or on the other hand, your parents might have been the types of people to raise you differently from everyone else. They may have had different kinds of rules for you that like other families or other parents might not necessarily agree with, or they were able to give you that freedom, that independence to just kind of like raise yourself a little bit. You know, it could go either way. I see this placement going either way. Perhaps your parents were not always present in your life because of perhaps there was sort of like this unpredictable quality to your relationship with your parents. Perhaps they played that Uranus role. They allowed so much independence to you because they were so busy, or they were just so like kind of everywhere all at once. It might have been hard for you to depend on them because of that, or to really rely on them for nurturing, for care, and for like just for acceptance, for being able to belong somewhere. Your home life growing up was definitely unpredictable though, and it was definitely very much up and down. Whether that be your relationships in your family were different, were always changing, or it could be, like I said, your homes could be changing. It could be like a lot of renovations in the house. It could be, you know, family members either like coming and going out of your life, in and out of your life, or in and out of your home, like people always visiting. It was probably very, very busy in your house growing up. There were probably a lot of people there, and just surrounded by a lot of people, a lot of ideas, a lot of just different kinds of personalities. And deep in your soul, you have an inner restlessness about you where you don't always show your individuality or your uniqueness to the world necessarily, or it doesn't really come out like when you're with other people. So it's like it just kind of stays in your private life, in your most private self. And so that restlessness and that weirdness kind of comes out when you're at home or when you're in your own private space. There might be a tendency to neglect self-care or self-nurturing and just neglect your emotional world, your emotional realm. You might be the type of person to also intellectualize your feelings, sort of try to make it much more cerebral than it is, instead of like actually feeling your feelings or like being within your feelings and really allowing yourself to feel them. You might try to make logic or reason out of them, or try to like maybe even like just laugh it off, or like call yourself crazy because of it. So deep down, your rebelliousness and your rebellious side really comes out in private or with your family, or, you know, growing up. That's where you experience it, and that's where it played out. I wonder if Uranus rules over caffeine. Kind of gives you that spark that you need of energy, and then
you crash later.
But okay, I'll go. Okay. So moving on, Uranus in the 5th house. Your love life is probably very erratic, very up and down, and just very like strange, or it's just unpredictable somehow. You know, people just come and go, and you can also play that role of the rebellious lover, the lover who is always changing their mind, the lover who is here one day and then gone the next. Or you might experience people who you date who are acting like that. You also probably don't really believe in strings, or you want a no strings attached sort of relationship, or not even relationship. If you can avoid being in a relationship, or like having this simple casual date develop into a relationship, then you would do that. You would prefer that, no strings attached and no expectations, nothing long term. You know, you need your independence when you are dating, and you need that selection, that variation with your partners, or when it comes to selecting a date. You can also be attracted to loners and rebels and just mavericks, you know, people who really stand out from society and who do not conform. You aren't really attracted to people who are sort of like just like any other average person. So you go for the people who stand out, or who have a very unique quality about them. You admire that and you're attracted to that. You can also really attract attention to yourself by being unique, because your self-expression is very much different, very much unique and individual to you, and you have a very like trademark way of expressing yourself and really shining in the spotlight. Like that's what people will know about you. That's what they're going to be drawn to you, and that's really how you express yourself in the spotlight and gain the attention of others. It might also be really easy for you to conceive if you are trying to have children. I know for sure by transit, Uranus transiting your 5th house is one of those like famous indicators of like an unexpected pregnancy. You know, something happening with conceiving that like it's like a wrench thrown in your plans, and it's just something that you never expected. You might have also really random bursts of creative inspiration as well. When you express yourself creatively is when your like rebelliousness shines through, your revolutionary ideas shine through. That's where people really get to see the side of you that is really different, that is really trademark of you, and that's like where your uniqueness or your quirks really come out, is when you have something to create, and that can include your children. So works of art that you create, it can also be children, like such as in procreation, and your kids or your future kids might end up being very rebellious. They might have an independent streak to them. You might have a very unique parenting style as well. You are the type of parent who will instill a sense of individualism to your children. You're going to encourage them to be unique and to stand out, to be different, and to like challenge the norm. They might end up acting that out with you though. Like they might end up taking that rebelliousness that you're teaching them and like acting it out with you. So that could be interesting to see play out. With Uranus in the 6th house, you might frequently change your jobs, or you might be very restless in the types of work that you put towards, that you participate in life, and you might have a very up and down relationship with the idea of work or like just everyday jobs and routine. Your routines can be somewhat changeable, and that's sort of an oxymoron, like a routine that's always changing. That's how it is for you. That's what your relationship is to routine and like everyday work responsibilities or everyday tasks that you need to tend to. You probably hate routine actually, and also like having to work under someone, having to take direction from somebody, having somebody impose a schedule on you is something that will like spark that rebellious side of you. You probably also dislike uniforms, having to wear a uniform at work, having to look like everybody and act the same as everybody. But also in your job or wherever it is that you serve other people, they might see you as like the technical person. You might be the person who's always fixing things, who's always like coming up with interesting or unique or off the wall ideas that nobody has ever thought of. And so that's what you are known for. You would do really well to make your own rules and routine at work if you are able to do that, or if you can find a job that allows for that. You might also have really strange or random issues with your health as well. Different things might pop up in your health and health matters that you weren't really seeing coming, or that like you see is sort of random, like how did that even get there, or how did I even develop that. At work also, you might also be seen as like the black sheep, just this person who like sort of is like lingering on the fringes of the work setting, or like the group of people that you work with. You're like the person who is sort of like out there, who does stand out and who does seem different, like that coworker who doesn't necessarily fit in with everybody else. With Uranus in the 7th house, you are somebody who probably does not really want to own up to your weirdness or to your uniqueness. You don't really want to be seen as somebody who stands out. So you'll tend to look for relationships or partners that have that different quality about it, that unique trait about it. You might attract weirdos, people who are like on the fringe of society, people who probably have been rejected by society, or just you're attracted to novelty relationships, or to different kinds of people. You need your independence in your relationships, and you need to feel free to make your own decisions, to do what you want, to say what you want, to be however you want. And you won't do well with a controlling partner or a jealous partner. You like to have that detached element to your relationships, and just have that freedom. It's so important to you. You need to have the freedom to choose your partner, and you will probably choose a partner or a person that other people would not expect you to be with. And so you probably wouldn't do well with like people setting you up on dates, or like just people recommending partners to you. Like that is something that you will definitely rebel against, and like think, what makes you think that person will be good for me? Like you'll just probably even go out of your way to like be with somebody that other people will look at you and be like, what, him or her? Like I didn't think that you would go for that type, but that's exactly what you want. That's exactly what you're going for. So like those types of relationships where they're different in some way, or just unexpected, or like your friends would not really understand or like approve, or whatever. You just want to rebel in in that way. You probably don't enjoy strings in your relationships. You don't enjoy expectations or rules being forced upon you. You don't want to be expected to commit too quickly or too fast or to settle down. Do not fence me in. That's something that you would definitely say in your relationships, or that's like probably your philosophy about relationships. Your relationships can also have a very like up and down quality about them. They're like roller coasters, and like that's the area where you just do not know what you're going to get from one day to the next. It was never something that you could really rely on or put expectations upon, because they were just so random, so unpredictable. There might be a hesitance to settle down. There might be a hesitance to like go the safe or expected way, which is like marriage, long-term marriage. That's something that to you is something that you're not really sure of. If you have not yet decided that is completely not for you, it's something that you're just not sure about, and there's a hesitance to settle down and go that safe route with conventional partnerships. To you, your relationships, or if it's not going to be a marriage, if it's just like the main relationship that you choose to have, it needs to be different in some way. It needs to have something about it that is different, that other people will see it and be like, oh, that's like, I've never seen two people really do that before. Like you can do different things in your relationships these days, and just like, I'm not going to mention what is different in a relationship, because different people can have different meanings or ideas of what a different unique relationship is. That's up to each person to determine what that is, to define what that is. So, and of course, you as a Uranus in the 7th house person, I'm not going to dictate to you or to preach to you like what a unique relationship is. You would hate that, so I'm not going to do that with you. So moving on to Uranus in the 8th house. With Uranus in the 8th house, there can be fears surrounding being seen as different, being seen as a unique individual. Somehow that's something that you sort of repress, and something that you're insecure about. Like the things that make you stand out are a source of insecurity for you. Your secrets in life can include being rebellious, being secretly weird, and your sexual style can be seen as unusual, or just from other people's perspectives, of course, and maybe from yours too, just because it is something that you do repress and want to hide. It's like a secret for you, so that comes out in your sexual style, your intimacy, and it is definitely non-conformist. It's not something that other people would see on the surface and like say that person is probably really kinky or whatever. So your intimate life or your intimacy style can be very detached. There is a need for independence even in your closest partnerships, your closest relationships, where people have seen like the ins and outs of you. Like they know your secrets, they know your fears, your insecurities, and like your past traumas, and all that really deep psychological stuff that you share with a partner. Even those kinds of partnerships need to have some element of independence with them. There needs to be a detachment. There needs to be some space there where you are not truly, completely emotionally bonded with another person. It's almost like you're really uncomfortable with that. And there needs to also be an element of friendship, I think, involved with people who you share all these things with like your deepest and closest intimate relationships. They need to have an element of friendship and detachment there, just a sense of casualness there, where there's no expectations, there is no rules or expectations set upon you. And only your closest partners really understand or really get to witness your rebellious side. So the things that you share in your partnerships can include invention, your creative ideas, your creative genius, your openness to the unconventional. So those are the types of things that you will bring to your partnerships. With Uranus in the 9th house, you have really strong beliefs and morals that can seem rigid just because of how extreme they are, just because of how different or unique they might seem to other people. You have those really unique ideas or philosophies in life, and you hold on really strong to them. You believe in standing up for your own individualism. You believe in standing up for the underdog, for those groups who do not have a voice necessarily, or do not have like a strong or loud voice. So you stand up for those types of groups or individuals. You're the type of person who will probably challenge or rebel against typical or traditional belief systems and sort of like question it. Just be that person wherever you go, even with like complete strangers, where you're just like challenging or asking questions about why they believe certain things, or like always playing devil's advocate. Okay, so that's the right term. I think that's the right term to use here. Anything that you see a bunch of people following, or like a specific belief system that a lot of people subscribe to, you might see it as just kind of blindly following the pack, just like mob mentality. That's not something that you will be a part of, or that you will partake in. Like, you know, you're always going to be questioning, always challenging, and even with like organized, long-standing ancient religions, you will always be having questions about it. If you're not challenging them, you're asking questions and like saying why though, like why, and probably even go to lengths such as reforming that religion, or even like creating your own religion, like being the leader of your own group. I don't want to say cult, but I said it. That's like the extremes of this placement. You might also be in and out of universities, like university studies, or your college studies might sort of be you might be involved in them 1 year, and then the next year you're doing something else, or you're following another path, you're taking up another major or whatever. And you might have also studied something in college just out of rebellion, just out of for the sake of proving people wrong. If people said that you couldn't do something, or that you couldn't study something or follow a certain path in life, you studied that shit hard, and just to prove them wrong, just to rebel, just to like say, ha, I told you so. Like, I knew I could do it, and I don't need you to tell me that I can't do it, or that I don't need you to tell me what my path in life is. You know, this is my path, and so I'm gonna do it. And so that's what you did. You just did it to be different, basically, to like get out of the box and not allow people to fence you in or to box you in. You just don't like people telling you what your purpose in life is, or what your higher purpose is in life, or telling you what to believe, what to think, or what your outlook should be in life, what you should be pursuing. Uranus in the 10th house, you are known for being detached, for being independent, for marching to the beat of your own drum, and also for being really smart and just challenging authority, challenging the rules, and setting your own path, setting your own guidelines, and choosing your own path, your own persona, and probably even making it up as you go. You're the type to question the rules in place, to question why people follow this path, why people are following this particular authority figure. You could also be known for your genius ideas, your creativity, and for just the way that you stand out and like rebel against the rules or against authority. Your path to success and achievement can be very up and down. It can be very just this way and that. It can take so many different twists and turns. Your road to success and your path to achievement, climbing the social ladder, it could have just been one way one day, and then the next day it's completely different, and it's just not what you thought would happen. There's always some sort of wrench thrown into your plans, your future plan, or you might end up not having any real plans or real solid concrete plans for the future. You are the type to wing it, to just improvise your way through life and improvise your way through to achieving success. You might also surprise the public. People who don't know you will sort of see you and know you and sort of receive your reputation as somebody who is different, for somebody who is challenging, somebody who is surprising, or who is just always changing. They never seem to know what your next move is going to be, and you like it that way. You prefer it that way. You don't want people to see you and expect something specific from you. There can be a use of technology or the internet or social media in building your reputation or in achieving success, because Uranus rules over these things, the technology or the internet, social media, and through just larger groups in general. And so you might be able to build your reputation using those things, through word of mouth, through just like different groups or different people like spreading word about you. You'll just be known for your crazy ideas, for breaking the rules, for breaking the mold, being very much out there and not really playing by anybody else's rules but your own. With Uranus in the 11th house, Uranus is at home in the 11th house because it's all about, the 11th house is all about friendships and your future, the future and progress, your ideals, your goals, how you fit into society or how you don't fit into society. Your creativity and your uniqueness is put towards your ideals and your visions of the future, your visions of what an ideal society should be like. And so you put your creativity and your ingenious ideas towards that area, towards helping other people, towards larger groups, towards a better future for everybody. You're definitely seen as ahead of your time, as just somebody who doesn't feel like they belong in any specific set group here on Earth. But you know, out there in space, who knows? You're just a futuristic and forward thinker. You know, you understand the bigger picture, the larger scheme of things, and you plan for that, or rather not plan. I don't want to say plan because Uranus does not plan, but it expects the unexpected, and it just sees the possibilities of what could happen in the future, the endless possibilities. You know, that doesn't mean saying that specifically X, Y, and Z will happen, but rather that A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z could happen. That's what it means to just like be seeing the bigger picture and seeing what could happen, just the endless possibilities of what could happen, and being open-minded towards all that could happen. This is the placement of the true revolutionary, the person who uses their social influence or their social standing to really stand up for something, to really make a statement, to really make change in the world, to really push for change, and to just start a revolution in the world, maybe even specifically for a certain group, for a sector of society that does not necessarily have a strong enough or loud enough voice. So they stand up for that and they fight for that. Your friendships are also really important to you, and the groups that you identify with could also be very important to you. You have like sort of a detached quality about the way you handle your friendships, and that there is not necessarily any expectation there, or like the need to like belong to one group only. Like you are open to and see opportunity in many different groups, in many different friendships, and in so many different types of people. You don't feel like you belong to any one group. You want to stand out, and you most of all, you want to be your own person. Just standing out of all of society, you want to be your own person and be seen as your own person. You might be friends with everybody, and you could just be the type of person who knows everybody, who is friends with everyone, who's, you know, like just casual acquaintances with everybody. And you really hate labels. You hate putting labels and being defined, being boxed into just a group of people that you label and that you set rules for, you set expectations for them. You know, you are not going to belong to that. You would definitely much rather prefer just being your own person. You know, and also just because Uranus is so at home in the 11th house, you are all about change, and you're all about seeking and pursuing change and seeking out the visions, you know, the progressive visions you have for a better society and for a better future for everybody. And so you push for that. You are just all about that change and seeing the change in people, seeing the change in society and in laws and in politics and in you know, in the government, and just, you know, that bigger picture, that idea that I was talking about, that you are always like, you have that vision for. You have the mind for invention, for improving the lifestyle of everybody. You might be known for your mind, for your creative genius, for just standing out for your revolutionary ideas. With Uranus in the 12th house, you can be somebody who is ashamed of their weirdness, ashamed of their unique qualities. You don't want to be seen as a person who really stands out necessarily, or who is too different, too non-conformist, too unconventional. You show your rebellious side only in private, really only when you are by yourself, and you know, that's how very deep it is within you. really only when you are in solitude is when you can feel like that side of you can really come out and shine, and you can feel free to express your individual nature. As a result, you can feel sort of out of touch with your inner rebel, and it's hard for you to tap into that side of you and tap into your unique qualities and really express your individual nature, just because it is something that you associate with shame, and so it only comes out in private and other people don't really get to see it. You might have strange dreams, or just dreams of the future. You might be the type of person who sees what is ahead, because Uranus is about future. It's about visions and moving forward and progress, right? So putting that into your 12th house of the unconscious, of dreams, you might literally be seeing dreams or visions of the future, things that are to come. It's almost like your dreams can sort of have like this electric quality to them, sort of like this really randomness about them that like really almost like jolts you awake because of how weird, or I don't know, it's just something about them has this jarring quality. It can almost literally just wake you up, but then that can also lead to ideas and just creative genius. This is where like the spark, the creative genius spark just comes in, and it like strikes like lightning, and it wakes you up, and like all of a sudden you have the cure for cancer or something like that. You experience Uranus in your subconscious. It makes way for ideas to come out and things that other people have not necessarily thought of yet or even considered, and so it comes to you. It comes to you in the realm of the unconscious, where you sort of receive the energy and the ideas from the collective unconscious, and you're able to channel that into creative genius, into making the world a better place, creating some kind of change or progress in society. In a past life, you might have been a rebel, you might have been a leader somehow, but probably you were punished for it, and so you now hide that side of you. Now you hide that inner rebel, that uniqueness, that individual eccentric side of you, because like somehow in a past life you were that person who stood out, and you were able to express that uniqueness and that your different or out there ideas, but like you were cast aside for it. So you're able to really express your unique energy and your ideas in private, alone. Like in solitude is when you get those ideas or that creative spark. As a result, you cannot really quiet your mind. It's hard for you to really be just completely at rest and just like turn off your thoughts, turn off your mind, and really be at peace when you try to sleep or when you're just alone. There is that inner restlessness when it comes to Uranus in the 12th house, where all the energy and the electric surge of energy just comes out when you are alone, and when you need to rest, when you need to turn off your mind and just, dive into your unconscious mind. And like it's hard, it's still awake, it's still thriving, and like energy is like just like shooting off from all sides. That about wraps up my video for Uranus throughout the houses. I hope you found it informative. I hope you learned something from it. And if you did, please give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you want to learn more about astrology and want to see the content that I have coming up for you very soon. I have a lot to share with you guys, so please stick around for that. So if you've made it this far in this video, I want to know what you think. I kind of want to get a better idea of what series I should do next. So I'm thinking of either doing Lilith through the houses and through the signs, also Chiron through the houses and through the signs, or Eros and Psyche. Eros and Psyche I plan to do in the same video, so just comment down below which one you are the most interested in learning about or seeing from me. So either Lilith, Chiron, or Eros and Psyche. So yeah, if you could just let me know what your opinion is on that down in the comments below, I'd really appreciate that. And also comment what your Uranus house is, any ideas or thoughts you might have on your Uranus house, and if you have something to add along with what I've shared in this video for your Uranus house, please by all means go ahead and comment and share what your thoughts are on that. So yeah, thank you again for watching. I'm Melissa, your local Capricorn moon. I will see you again soon for the next video. baby hair's gone wild.